I just met this guy named Griffin. He was walking on the street. He was forced back, just like a lot of us were in Griffin. You were right there. First off, this all started the commotion roughly an hour or so ago. Take me through your afternoon so far.
I was meeting a friend for lunch at the restaurant right next door to where everything was happening, and it was probably about an hour ago. We saw some cop cars coming up and people rushing into the building. They had some pretty heavy-duty gear, assault rifles and riot shields, things like that, and then more and more just kept showing up until the whole street was just flooded with police, and saw a few people leaving in ambulances heading to Grady. So that was what we saw. We were asked to, an officer came into the restaurant and asked us to stay put until they located him, and then they just now let us leave. So I think the situation's under control now.
What are your emotions like? I saw you talking on the phone walking over here. I mean, are you calling family? Are you calling friends? Or how are your nerves right now?
I'm okay. I mean, I felt totally safe the whole time. I mean, the restaurant was not attached to the building, and the police were on the scene very quickly. So I never felt like I was personally in any danger. APD did a great job. I was just calling my parents and my fiance, who was watching on the news, just to let them know that we were okay and we were heading out. So.
I mean, we are seeing an incredible scene right now. This is still very much an active situation. What can you just say about the response that you've seen? And we are seeing now, I'm being told over my ear that we're seeing pictures of the suspect as we're learning the implications of what happened. I mean, what have you seen from the response?
Very quick, very calculated. They rushed into action very quickly. There was never a point where I felt that we were in danger. So Atlanta police did a fantastic job from what I saw. Yeah.
Griffin, thanks so much for your time, and we'll continue to stay on scene right here. Again, we're in Midtown right now, Northside Medical, where there was this shooting roughly an hour ago. You just heard from someone who was right in the area as all of this started to transpire, and now police are starting to get a better understanding of who the shooter is, and now seeking more public help in tracking this person down as they continue their investigation. We'll continue to cover things here on the ground. Tracy?
Patrick, it is certainly a situation that is unfolding rapidly. We are staying on these images right now. Take a good look at your screen. This is the suspected shooter right now. Police say he is not in custody. They have released these images to ask for you, the public, if you have seen this person, call 911 immediately. Do not approach this man. He is believed to be armed and dangerous. Now, again, we want to show you these pictures, and hopefully in this rotation we can show you a better image of that man's face as he is in the elevator. You can see from this image he appears to be wearing a mask, also a hoodie, looks to be a gray hoodie. In another image, you could see him walking through the door there, holding a gun, pointing that gun at someone. Again, through this image here, you can see him still masked with that hoodie on his face. We have a better image of him inside an elevator where you could see more of his face. It appears as though before he put the mask on and possibly started shooting. But again, there we go. That is the image of the suspect police are looking for. Again, do not approach this man if you see him. He is believed to be armed and dangerous. Right now, at least 3 people are at Grady Hospital. We know 1 person is at Grady with confirmed gunshot wounds, at least 1 gunshot wound. Police are still looking for this suspect. Do not approach him. Believed to be armed and dangerous. Call 911 if you know who this person is. Might be in someone you've encountered before, saw him on the street when you were today in Midtown, or in a building you were in before this shooting happened. Call police if you have any information as they continue to search for this suspect. All right, to recap for you, an active shooter situation. This is all unfolding in Midtown Atlanta in the 1100 block of West Peachtree Street. It appears to be in the area of Northside Medical Center. We believe this is where that active shooting happened, inside that building, still waiting to get confirmation. In the meantime, police have asked everyone in that area to shelter in place. Anyone trying to get into that area, the streets are blocked off, at least close to a 4-block area. If you work in the area, live in the area, and you aren't there yet, maybe you're at work somewhere else, you cannot get into that area right now. All of it is cordoned off as police continue to search for this suspect. You're looking at live images right now from the Atlanta News First Chopper. This is at the corner there. You can see the Whole Foods. This is on 14th Street and Peachtree, and you can see a number of police units lined up as they have blocked off at least a 4-block area there in West Midtown. You know, on a Wednesday, this time of day, extremely busy. People coming and going to offices, going to lunch, going out shopping, running errands. A number of people have been asked to shelter in place when they live in the condos, the townhomes there, the apartments. Not allowed to leave their buildings. One of our crews, Zach Summers, said he could hear on a PA system in some cases people being asked to not leave, to shelter in place, not to go outside. Police have not given the all clear yet, nor will they until they have this suspect in custody. Again, we do have some information from Atlanta Public Schools, where they're asking people to avoid the area of West Midtown for people to shelter in place. Atlanta Public Schools operating on exterior lockdown for the rest of the day. The APS community in that area and surrounding West Peachtree Street in Midtown, they are under a shelter-in-place order because of this active shooter situation. Now, from the Atlanta News First Chopper, you can see a number of people. They look to be in scrubs there, leaving the Atlanta Medical Center facility there. Not sure if that entire building has been evacuated or they are evacuating based on floor by floor. But that is the building that is at the center of the focus here of this active shooter investigation. All right, again, more live pictures right now. These actually, what we really want you to pay close attention to, these photos of the suspected shooter. These are what Atlanta police have sent to us to give to you, for you to look at. Again, a chilling photo right there. You could see it, him pointing a gun at someone. This is the suspected shooter in an elevator. This is him masked up, leaving one of those offices where he appears to have drawn a gun. But a man believed to be in what looks like a gray hoodie. There you could see with his arm drawn there, with almost like a backpack kind of crossing over, backpack sling pack right in front of him there in a gray hoodie and black pants. Again, if you see this man, do not approach him. Call 911. Police believe he is still armed and dangerous and could possibly still be in that area. That's why our crews have been asked to move back as far as they can. Police are trying to maintain that area, hopefully close in on this suspect. Not sure if they have an idea of about where he is, but they are asking you to avoid that area, or if you live in that area, work in that area, shelter in place right now. Let's go down to my colleague Patrick Quinn and listen to him. He's speaking to a witness.
Because I go through from my building, the Icon, to Whole Foods. When I walked out of the building, all I seen was police cars and SWAT, and everybody's just pulling up, back to back. And my supervisor was right there at the time, and he was like, "Hey, make sure you stay close to the walls and stand back because we heard it's an active shooter."
We just saw a lot of Atlanta police officers with long guns just jump into a car, and you were telling me this is very much active. You told me that they're looking for this shooter. I mean, to watch this play out in real time, what is this like for you? It's just, I can't describe it right now. I just really can't describe it. It's just crazy. This is really crazy. Are you nervous, scared? Do you
I called a couple of my family members like, "Hey, it's an active shooter in the city. If anything happened to me, I just want y'all to know that I can't get back into the building, and I'm out here really in the streets, and they're telling me that I just have to keep moving backwards from my actual original location." So it's just tough right now. I can't get back to work.
Them pushing us back, how much does that suggest to you? Expanding their perimeter.
It's really that's dangerous. Let me know that the situation is not something that can be taken lightly. They're definitely taking all the precautions that they can by pushing us this far back, and it just make me wonder, where is he? It could be any one of us, not any one of us, but it could be anybody out here right now, and we don't really know who's the shooter.
Sir,
or where his whereabouts.
So we were just obviously just talking off camera. You're live right now on Channel 2 Action News. I'm glad you're okay. I know you were talking about you're just trying to catch your breath now, but again, can you just take us through what just unfolded?
I work in the building right next to where the shooting took place, and I was going on my lunch break. I was crossing over to go into Whole Foods, and all of a sudden, they was pushing us out of the building, pushing us further back into the streets, telling us to get away from the building where the active shooter were at, and just telling us to get back. It's a shooter, it's an active shooter, and and we don't even know who the shooter is and where the shooter at right now, and so it's really, it's really nerve-wracking.
I mean, what was the first thing you did, though, when they started saying, active shooter, what do you do?
What could you do? Because I went to start looking up to make sure nobody wasn't hanging a rifle out of one of these windows or anything like that, and I went to put my back against the wall and just trying to do whatever the officers tell us to do at the time.
I don't know if you've seen this yet. Atlanta police released photos of the shooter, the suspected shooter. I don't know if he looks familiar.
Not right offhand. No, okay. Not right offhand.
Can you just tell us, though, again, I mean, it's become so common for something like this to happen, but for you to actually be living this and experiencing it, when it all went down, was everybody around you just kind of joined together just to stay?
We were joined together. It's kind of nerve-wracking because the officers just came up to me thinking I was another suspect they was looking for, and I just had to show my ID so they could realize who I was. And so, it's nerve-wracking because I guess they got a little picture of him, but we don't know who he's working with, who's helping him out or anything. So, and they haven't yet caught him. So,
real quick, anything you want to say to your friends or family that may be trying to get a hold of you, can't reach you?
Just be aware of your surroundings. Cooperate with the law, what they ask you to do. Anytime situations like this occur, we just want to all work together and try to avoid getting shot.
Okay. All right, thank you. We're glad you're okay. Hey, Fred and Linda, eyewitness account there. You're hearing more just scary account of people right by the building.
All right, our very own Zach Summers, he is down on the ground as well to give you a quick update. An active shooter situation. This extremely dangerous in Midtown Atlanta. Here's why. Police are still looking for the shooting suspect. Want to quickly show you once again those images of that shooting suspect if we can. We do have several crews on the ground there in the 1100 block of West Peachtree, but police are still looking for this shooter, believed to be armed and dangerous as well. These are chopper videos right now. Again, here is that shooting suspect. Not the best image, but this is what police have given us to go on. This is the suspect they are looking for. He is masked, wearing a hoodie, what looks to be a gray hoodie, and black pants. Again, if you know who this person is, this a much better image of him. Looks to be in an elevator there. You could see much more of his face before he masked up and entered the building and started shooting. Police say if you see this person, call 911. He is believed to be armed and dangerous. They are still looking for him. They have a large swath of Midtown Atlanta blocked off as they investigate and look for this suspect. Atlanta News First, Zach Summers. He's on the ground right now. And Zach, you've been able to speak to a number of people who've been evacuated from their buildings or either can't get back into them because of this active shooter situation.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. We're at 14th and Crescent, about a block over from Northside Medical, where it appears a lot of the activity is centered. Some of the folks we talked to who were evacuating from the medical center told us that the active shooter was inside. We know, or we were told by other folks who have seen them, that those folks have now been isolated to an area where we would imagine they will eventually talk with police. Those people, though, as they were coming out of Northside, they were visibly shaken, a lot of them crying and scared because, nobody wants to be in a situation like this. Police, I will tell you, they have cordoned off a huge block of this section of Midtown because they tell us it's just not safe. They're looking for this shooter, and even when we were as close as 14th and West Peachtree, we had an officer tell us, hey, you guys have to move. You have to move because we don't want anybody to get shot as they look for this shooter. I want to bring in Halsey. He works down here. Halsey, you just got a text message from a loved one?
Yes, my sister in Philadelphia just texted me to see if I was okay, and a client called me on the phone as well. I was unaware because I was out to lunch, and then as I learned from you, why would someone go shoot up a hospital? I mean, guns are a sickness in our country.
Hey, I hear you, and you work pretty close to Northside Medical.
Yes, they're within a half a block of our office. We're in the IBM Tower, large building, 52 stories, and I've never felt unsafe in the city before.
Yeah, have you been able to talk with anyone inside the office?
Not yet. And I just came upon this in the last 3 or 4 minutes, so I'm still a little bit under shock.
Yeah, I was going to say, as you saw all this happening, you work down here, you say you feel relatively safe in Midtown every day. What were you thinking as you saw this heavy police presence?
I had no idea. I thought perhaps, sometimes politicians come in town, so you hear the helicopters and the streets are closed. I thought maybe there's an official passing through in a motorcade, and then we came upon here and shocked to find out something else very different.
Yeah. Well, thank you for talking with us. We appreciate your time. I will tell you, Tracy, it is impressive the number of officers that are down here from all agencies that are here in Metro Atlanta. Just a huge police presence as they look for this active shooter. And I will tell you, for a lot of folks who are down here visiting, they work here, or maybe they live here, many of them are just aimlessly walking, trying to figure out what's happening. And when you tell them, yeah, police are looking for an active shooter, you can just see kind of like the shock in their face. We are at a safe vantage, but you see down, that's 14th and West Peachtree. That's the center of the activity. We saw a lot of police officers mobilizing there as they work to find this shooter. And, again, as we've said multiple times, folks who were inside Northside Medical tell us that that active shooter was inside the hospital. Tracy?
How frightening for the people working in that building and surrounding buildings. And Zach, and where are you now exactly? Because I know police have had to push you back a couple of times in order to secure that perimeter.
Oh yeah, absolutely. At one point we were right in front of Northside Medical, and you could see at that point, that was about an hour ago, we didn't really know where the activity was centered, because all we were told is that there was an active shooter situation between 12th and 14th Street. And I just want to, breaking news right now here on Atlanta News First, we've just been able to confirm that at least one person has died. That's according to Atlanta police. So this has now turned into a deadly shooting here in Midtown today, where we believe was at Northside Hospital. That's what we've been told by people who were inside the hospital. A lot of the folks we were able to quickly talk with as police were scurrying us away, they tell us they didn't hear the gunshots, they didn't see the gunman, but police came in and escorted them out and told them that it was not a safe situation, which is what we were told as they continued to push us back from West Peachtree and 13th, which is where we started today, and now we're at 14th and Crescent, which is a relatively safe space from where much of that activity is happening. So just a sad situation now that we've learned that one person has died as a result of this shooting here in Midtown. Tracy?
Just a devastating development, Zach, that again, we have one death from this active shooter situation, and again, not sure if that is one of the people taken to Grady Hospital. We do know 3 patients were taken to Grady, gunshot wound. This situation has been unfolding over the last hour. Again, an active shooter situation in Midtown Atlanta. This is in the 1100 block of West Peachtree Street, all focused on Northside Medical Center. That area right there is where police are searching for an active shooter. They've really cordoned off at least a 4-block area as they continue to search for this shooter. You're taking a live look right now from our Atlanta News First chopper. You could see a number of officers, possibly in SWAT gear. They look to be entering a building there, and quite possibly they may have a suspect cornered in one of the buildings. But imagine, if you've been in Midtown Atlanta, condos, townhomes, apartments, office buildings, that is a lot of space to have to investigate and try and search for a suspect. That is why they've moved our crews back block after block after block in order to maintain a perimeter to keep people on the outside of that perimeter safe. Again, if you have to travel through that area, you work in the area, you live in the area, if you are already there, they are asking you to shelter in place. Don't leave the building. If you are not in that area, they are asking you not to head into the area because they want to maintain safety. I want to show you once again the images of this shooting suspect that police are looking for. If my producers can kind of put that up. It is paramount that you take
Officer
a
Tracy
good
Ford.
look at this active shooter right now, wearing a mask. Right now, you could see him coming out of one of those rooms. In another photo, we could see him right there pointing the gun. There's another photo where you can get this one, a better look at his face. Again, police are asking you, do not approach him. If you see him, call 911. He is believed to be armed and dangerous. All right, we continue to work on this story right now, an active shooting situation in Midtown Atlanta. I welcome my colleague Alan Devlin here to, this is just incredible that we have to talk about a situation like this. This is now gone nationwide. We spoke to a man who said his family member, his sister across the country, calling to check on him, knowing he works in Midtown Atlanta, worried about his safety.
Exactly. And you know what? I live here in Midtown. And as soon as this story broke and Atlanta News First sent out that push, those texts, those phone calls really started coming in, because this is probably one of the most populated, if not the most populated, densely populated area in our city. So to have something like this, where the suspect's still not apprehended at this time, it really is terrifying. And you've got a lot of people checking on everybody in that area, and even people that frequent that area. You don't have to live in Midtown to be a part of this community. That is why this has such a big impact to us here in Atlanta.
Oh, certainly. And I would advise, too, if you do have a loved one in that area, certainly check on them. Make sure they are okay. Make sure they are staying sheltered in place if they live there in Midtown or have a work in Midtown at one of the office buildings there, or to completely just avoid that area. Honestly, they're going to get stopped right at the corner anyway. Police are not letting anyone in. They do have a mobile command center. This is really the focus of Metro Atlanta right now, is in Midtown. We continue to take a live look from our Atlanta News First chopper. Now, here's a map. Here's the area that we're talking about. Here are the street closures. You do need to avoid streets near Northside Medical Center, West Peachtree Street, Northwest, between 10th and 14th Street. So this is right off the downtown connector. So make sure you avoid that area until we give you the all clear. Right now, police continue to search for that shooting suspect. Unfortunately, we have confirmed in the last few minutes, one person has died from this. We do know earlier 3 people were sent to Grady Medical Center, unclear their conditions. We had heard, police confirmed, 1 person taken to Grady with a gunshot wound. We are not clear right now on the total number of victims we have. We are still working to get that information from Atlanta Police. Certainly, they are working to find the suspect. So as soon as they can get that information to us, we will pass it along to you. But again, an active shooter situation that has been ongoing in Midtown Atlanta for at least over an hour now, still searching for that suspect right there that you see that picture of, Alan?
Yeah, exactly. And you know what I want to say, you just brought up those street closures. You're looking at a map. You've got hotels, you've got restaurants, you've got bars, you've got apartment complexes, all right in that area, streets away, a street away, I should say. So this entire area impacted. But we do, my producers just told me we have Patrick Quinn, who's out in the field right now. Do we have him up? Can we talk to him about what he's seeing and where? There's Patrick. So Patrick, we can already see the intensity right there behind you over your left shoulder. Talk to us about what you're seeing, what you're hearing as this kind of goes on right now.
Well, I'm just going to step right out of the scene, Alan, so you can get a better shot. This is SWAT right here, and they are gearing up. We can see some right now that are continuing to get equipped, and they have blocked off a lot of the area right here around Peachtree. We are a few blocks actually away from Northside, but they're surrounding a few different office buildings here. And remember, we are just 2 or 3 blocks away from Piedmont Park, and you're seeing actively this group of SWAT members right here gearing up, and this is certainly a active situation, and they are on the move. We just saw them drive onto the street right here roughly 5 minutes ago, and they're continuing to corner off different areas of Midtown, of this very populated area. I just talked with someone who was in one of these office buildings. They were told to evacuate. Those who were inside were told to stay in place. So we are seeing an active situation, and we're seeing SWAT right here standing by right off of Midtown, and we'll see where they move next. I mean, we are watching this closely. No doubt they are following tips, and they are continuing to track down different buildings, different areas of interest, and this is the latest one we're seeing. This is right by the High Museum. If you're familiar with Midtown, I mean, this is a very busy, populated area, especially in the middle of the day, and they've started to corner off different areas of interest. And right now we are just off of Peachtree here in Midtown. Alan?
All right, Patrick, I'll pick it up from here. And we have just got new information. We told you earlier about Atlanta Public Schools. They've been asked to, everyone in that area to shelter in place. Also, Goddard School in Midtown, they are on a lockdown. No one going in or out of that school. If you have a student there at Goddard School, no doubt many of the faculty members there have probably already contacted you. But that could interrupt when you pick up your child. Right now, no one in or out. Of course, in Midtown Atlanta, safety is paramount as police continue to look for this active shooting suspect. He's still on the run. Police do believe he is armed and dangerous. They have not found him yet. 3 people so far injured. Still working to confirm if one of those people injured has passed away, unfortunately. We can confirm 1 death. We do know those victims taken to Grady Hospital earlier this afternoon.
Yeah, right up the road there. And you just mentioned the Goddard School. The Goddard School is literally right around the corner from Northside Medical, less than a quarter of a mile. So this school, these students, these staff members right now locked down, as Tracy said, nobody in or out as this scene continues to unfold. And the Atlanta News First chopper flying overhead, and guys, to sit here and look at Midtown Atlanta on the level of lockdown that it is right now in the middle of a busy work week is insane, as you said, to have to talk about, and for everybody in the area, everybody in the community to have to experience, Tracy, is terrifying.
Well, you know, we unfortunately, Alan, report on these stories all the time. It is certainly another thing when you're in the middle of it, when it happens in your city and it's in an area that you frequent, that you live in, that you shop in, that you work in. Absolutely terrifying, honestly. Here's what we do know. We can confirm, police say no additional shots have been fired since the initial active shooting call. That is somewhat good news. The bad news is the shooter is still on the run. They have not found him yet. Here's what we know so far. 4 victims shot. 3 of them taken to Grady Medical Center. 1 of those victims passed away. 4 total victims, that's what we have confirmed right now, not knowing if that number could potentially grow as police continue this investigation. They do have their mobile command center in Midtown Atlanta right now. Certainly they have every person on the ground, on the force, that they can get into this area to cordon it off, to make sure people are safe, to search for that suspect. Once again, if you look on the right side of your screen, you can see that shooting suspect. We could see him walking out of an elevator, walking into one of those rooms there in Northside Medical Center, pulling up his arm, firing the weapon, has a mask over his face, appears to be wearing a gray hoodie, black pants. If you see this person, do not approach. Believed to be armed and dangerous, call 911 if you know who this person is. All right, let's head to the ground right now. Zach Summers is speaking to someone who may have come out of the hospital. Let's listen.
Tracy, this is Ann. She actually tells me that she had an appointment inside the hospital today. And, you know, what do you make of this scene?
It's very scary, you know, and it's sad. You know, it continuously happens, you know. I know that the gentleman had some mental health issues, so I really don't know what to say other than it's a very sad day in the city of Atlanta, and especially for those that have been injured. And I don't know how many they are or anything about them, but I know that there are people that are hurt. Hopefully,
No, you said you know the gentleman has mental issues. Do you know him?
No, I do not. But I mean, everyone said he was here for a psychiatric evaluation. Now, I don't know if that's true, but I believe it to be because I've heard it from several. I've heard it on the radio, the police radios, and people around me. So,
yeah, and you know we haven't been able to confirm that ourselves. But you know how long have you been visiting this hospital?
Oh, here I come here for everything. I was going to see my surgeon today because I broke my wrist yesterday, and here I am.
So you know the staff here if you've been going here so long.
I know my doctor and a physical therapist. I did get a text from the office telling me that they were all okay, which I'm so grateful for. So that's basically all I know, is that we're just kind of stuck here and surrounded by every police officer and rescue emergency responder, and
Yeah, the response is it's enormous.
It's great.
You know, we've been able to confirm that at least 4 people have injured. We know at least 1 person has died, according to Atlanta police. When you think about, you were supposed to be inside that building today. What goes through your mind?
I was just walking up. I didn't exactly know what was going on, but I saw all the first responders headed in this direction. So I live very close to here. So I was walking, and they just stopped me, and here I am.
Yeah, what are you feeling right now? You live in this community. You've mentioned that we see this happen all over the country, and here it's happened in our backyard.
Well, I have to say that I love the city of Atlanta, and it's unfortunate that this happens, but it happens everywhere. I hope this doesn't put a black mark on our city, because I live in Midtown. I live right across the street from the park, and I think it's a wonderful city, and I'm not going to live in fear because I love this community. I'm just sad that this happened in Atlanta, and it's happening all over the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Ann, thank you. I'm glad you're safe, and thanks for talking with us. I just want to kind of paint the picture from here now. We're at 12th and Peachtree. You can see Northside Medical within our eyesight. So basically, police have put the media here, and then my colleague Patrick is at 15th Street, a couple blocks over, still here on Peachtree. Our vantage point is a little better. You still see a heavy police presence.
All right, just want to let you know that we're going to continue to follow this breaking news, this active shooter situation in Midtown. After this shooting at a medical building in Midtown, at least 1 person dead, several others injured. As you can see, we have multiple crews on the scene. We're going to keep following all the breaking developments. We're going to come off of the digital platforms just momentarily because we're going to reset, and we are going to have a live interview in just a few moments with MARTA officials, and we're going to take a look at how this is impacting transport. Because, of course, this is a very busy area. It's a very busy time of day. So we have a lot of questions about that. Just bear with us. Again, we're just going to come down just momentarily, and we'll fire right back up after we reset the electronics here. So keep it right here on Atlanta News First and Atlanta News First Plus.